Football is finally back again. The summer break is officially over and club football is finally starting back up again. And with that being said, I thought this would be the perfect time to predict the winner of each of Europe's top 5 leagues. In today's video, not only will I be predicting who will win the title, but I will also be predicting which teams may push for the title or may perform much better than last season in each of Europe's top 5 leagues. Obviously, this is all my opinion, and if you guys disagree with any of my predictions, remember to leave a comment down below and I'll be sure to reply to every single comment. So without further ado, let's get right into this video. Starting off with La Liga. Now, in my opinion, within the last decade or so, the two main teams have always been Barcelona and Real Madrid. But Atletico Madrid have always been a third contender and they have always pushed both Barcelona and Real Madrid. But this season, I think that Atletico Madrid have done some incredible business on the transfer market, and I think they have a great chance to finish second place and maybe even in first place. Obviously, it will be very tough for them because within the last decade, they've only finished in first place one time. Other than that, it's always been Barcelona or Real Madrid that will end up winning the league. But this season, I think they have made some incredible transfers, signing players like Julian Alvarez, Alexander Sorloth, Ramin Lenormand, 3 signings, 2 attackers, 1 defender that I think are all brilliant players and players that Atletico Madrid really needed in their squad. In my opinion, I think Atletico Madrid are definitely going to be better than Barcelona this season. I think they will be the team that pushes Real Madrid for the La Liga title. But in my opinion, I do think Real Madrid will be the winners. Real Madrid within the last 3 years have won the Champions League 2 times. They have been one of the best performing teams in recent years. Carlo Ancelotti is one of the best managers in history. And this summer, they signed the best player in the world, Kylian Mbappe. Their whole team was already stacked. The only thing that they were missing was a proper striker after Karim Benzema left. And now they went ahead, they signed Kylian Mbappe. Imagine Mbappe in the middle with Vinicius on one side, Rodrigo on the other side. In my opinion, that is the best team in the world. I think they will win the Champions League, I think they will win the Copa del Rey, and I do think that Real Madrid will also win the La Liga title. Moving on to the Serie A. Now, I think this is a little bit more open than the La Liga, as I think there are 3 teams that could possibly win the title. And these 3 teams are AC Milan, Juventus, and Inter Milan. Obviously, last season, Inter Milan did win the Scudetto, but this season I think both AC Milan and Juventus have made some great signings in the transfer window. Obviously, AC Milan did sack Stefano Pioli and they signed Paulo Fonseca, who, to be honest, I don't really know too much about him as a manager, but I do think that he is probably better suited for this job than Stefano Pioli. But even in the transfer market, they made some great transfers, signing players like Fofana, Emerson Royal, and a few other young players, and including the veteran Alvaro Morata, who had an incredible season with Atletico Madrid last season and also won the Euros with Spain this summer. Juventus have also made a few great signings this summer, like Douglas Llouis from Aston Villa, Kefhan Touram from Nice, and also Juan Cabal from Hellas Verona. Personally, I do think Juventus will do better than AC Milan this season, mainly because of their new manager Thiago Motta. I think that Juventus are the one team that will push Inter Milan for the Scudetto. But once again, I do think Inter Milan will come away with the title. I think their team is just too good, and this summer they have made some incredible signings, mostly on free transfers. In my opinion, I think that Inter Milan have one of the best attacking partnerships in the whole world with Lautaro Martinez and Marcus Thuram. I think both of these players are absolutely incredible. They complement each other perfectly, and with that attacking duo, with Mehdi Taremi coming off the bench, who is a proven striker with FC Porto, I think that there is no stopping Inter Milan. I think they will score loads and loads of goals this season, and I think they will win the Scudetto once again. Moving on to the Liga. Now, a lot of people always diss the Liga. They say that they're not good enough to be considered as one of the top 5 European leagues. But in my opinion, this season, the Liga is really opening up, as PSG don't have some of the star players that they had a few years ago. I think this leaves room for other teams to possibly win the league. Within the last decade, PSG have won the Liga title almost every single year. But that was when they had some of these star players like Neymar, like Messi, like Mbappe, when they had some incredible midfielders like Marco Verratti, and even some amazing defenders. But now we are starting to see a new era of PSG with a lot of youngsters, a lot more unknown players, and a lot more uncertainty within the squad. Luis Enrique is a brilliant manager. I was always a big fan of him when he was managing the Spanish national team. But this season, I don't think PSG are going to win the league. I know it may come as a surprise, but in my opinion, I just don't think it will happen. And the team that I think will win the Ligue 1 title for 2024-25 will be Marseille. Now, Marseille didn't make a lot of crazy expensive transfers this summer. They haven't went out and bought crazy players, but they did replenish in areas of their squad that needed fixing. They went out and bought defenders, they bought midfielders, they bought attackers, and they even bought a goalkeeper. Now, obviously, they didn't buy the best of the best, but they bought proven players that have played very well in recent years. And with their new manager, De Zerbi, I think that they're going to have a brilliant season this year. Obviously, last year, they didn't do that good in the Liga and they finished in 8th place, but they did do pretty good in European competitions. And this season, with De Zerbi as their manager, I just feel like he is the perfect manager for a team like Marseille. Obviously, he took Brighton a few years ago, who were a mid-table team, to finishing in the top 6. And this season with Marseille, I think he will do exactly the same thing. A team that finished 8th place last season. But this season, I think he will bring them to the top of the Liga, and I do think Marseille will win the Ligue 1 title for 2024-25. Moving on to the Premier League. Now, I did just release my Premier League predictions about a week ago, but if you didn't watch that, then obviously you wouldn't know who I picked to win the Premier League title. And in my opinion, this will be between two teams, the two main teams, Arsenal and Manchester City. One team who has won the league title for the last few consecutive seasons, and the other team who has been coming second place for the last few consecutive seasons. But this year, I think it is finally Arsenal's time, and I do think they will overtake Manchester City. Obviously, there is still a chance that Manchester City do get relegated with the 115 charges that is looming over everyone's head at all times. But even if that doesn't happen, I still do think that Arsenal have what it takes to overtake Manchester City. I just feel like Manchester City have been going so strong for the last 5 or 10 years that there's bound to be a season where they eventually drop off. And obviously, we've been hearing a lot of news about Pep Guardiola possibly leaving within the coming years. They obviously sold Julian Alvarez to Atletico Madrid, who in my opinion was a little bit of a mistake. I think he is a brilliant player. He played so many games for Man City last season, and I do think they could struggle a little bit without him. And considering the fact that Manchester City haven't really made any new signings this summer, they signed one player and that's it. If we get an injury to Rodri or to De Bruyne again, or maybe to Erling Haaland, having sold Julian Alvarez, it could prove as detrimental to the club's season and their club's success this year. And for that reason, I think Arsenal as a team who have been building and building and building for the last 3 years, I think they are finally ready to win the Premier League. They have made a few good signings this summer who only reinforce their squad depth. I think they have great players in all areas of the pitch, the attack, the midfield, the defense. I think Arteta is finally ready. I think it is finally their time. And in my opinion, if Arsenal do not win the league this season, I would consider it as a failure, because if they come second place for the 3rd consecutive season, and especially if they don't win any silverware, in my opinion, that will be very disappointing. And I think it should be their time. I think they should win it. Obviously, Manchester City are still the favorites, but in my opinion, I'm going to go with Arsenal. And finally, moving on to the last of the top 5 leagues, the Bundesliga. This, in my opinion, will be between 3 teams: Borussia Dortmund, Bayer Leverkusen, and Bayern Munich. Obviously, Bayern Munich within the last decade have been winning the Bundesliga almost every single year. But last season, we saw a drastic change where Bayer Leverkusen outperformed all the other teams. They finished the season with 0 losses, and Bayern Munich finished in 3rd place behind Stuttgart, who finished in 2nd. Starting off with Borussia Dortmund, last season they didn't have the best season in the Bundesliga. They finished in 5th place. Obviously, they did make the Champions League spots for this season. But I think this summer, they made a few key signings for their team, signing players like Pascal Gross from Brighton, and also Guirassy, who was an incredible striker last season with Stuttgart. And with these 2 new signings and a couple other players that they have either signed or loaned, I think they will do much better than last season, and they will definitely finish in the top 3. Bayer Leverkusen haven't really made too many moves on the market. They have signed a couple players, but mainly their squad will be similar to what it was from last season. And yes, they do have some incredible players. They have some very talented youngsters in their squad, but in my opinion, I don't think they're gonna have what it takes to go back to back. I think they can have another incredible season. I think they will push the likes of Borussia Dortmund and Bayern Munich, but I don't think they have what it takes to win. So in my opinion, the winner of the Bundesliga title will be Bayern Munich. Last season, I thought it was a little bit confusing for Bayern Munich. They were rotating through managers, they didn't really make any great signings, and they weren't getting consistent results. But this season, they have newly appointed Vincent Kompany, who in my opinion will do very good in the Bundesliga. They have bought 2 key players, Michael Olise and João Palhinha, who I think will be great for their squad. And I just feel like they are on one level above the other Bundesliga teams. And for that reason, I do think Bayern Munich will win the Bundesliga title. And that is the end of this video. Those are my predictions for which teams will win each of Europe's top 5 leagues. If you guys agree with my predictions, remember to leave a comment down below. But again, if you disagree with my predictions and you think another team might win the league, or there might be a surprise in one of the top 5 leagues, again, remember to leave a comment down below. And obviously, if you guys did enjoy this video, remember to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and stay tuned for more videos.